Welcome back to the final match of the week. Wow, I can't talk today. I don't know what's going on. The teams are gearing up for round 2 of Echo Fox versus Team Liquid, and I wanted to give player of the game to Looper. For those who are confused, it comes down to the casters eventually, and we didn't really know who to give it to. It was all of Echo Fox playing well together, right? This was a game won by teams.
Exactly.
And I was the one that said, okay, I'm going to give it to Looper because I thought he played the 1v3 defense very well. No deaths and did wave clear, which I've seen so many players screw up that turret defense. That's like a mark of playing well. And he had the final pick off on Piglet where he said, okay, cleanse is down. We know flash is down. Taunt flash and E, that's going to guarantee the kill. So I thought he made the game-winning play and the other game-winning play of defending properly in the 1v3. So I thought above the rest, I thought it was Looper.
Yeah, I thought that Looper had a really solid game. And like you say, in games like this, it's really hard to have one player, I think, standing out from the rest because it was extremely low kills. It was a very slow game. It wasn't like a massive carry performance. I think that it was more a lot of good shot calling in the early game. That was really what got them in the advantage. And also, you know, Looper was a very big part of that, both from champion pick, obviously playing the Galio so he could defend in that 1v3, but also for how he played it out.
Yeah. All right, so of course, honorable mentions to pretty much the rest of the team. Whoever was shot calling really deserves it. Whoever devised the first 12 minutes is the real player of that game.
Coach is the player of the game.
Maybe it is. I don't know. Or if it's just like randomly someone in the background just gave him the idea. Either way, honorable mentions also can go to Acadian because he did get the first blood. That did very well. But Echo Fox, honestly, it was a game that they were in control of the entire time. 6 of 6 dragons. They had all the 3 barons as well for obvious reasons. I think they gave up maybe 3 turret kills and 3 champion kills. Like all game, like very little happened against them. But after the first 15 minutes, the story was, wow, the early game shot calling was insane, and then it took you another 20 minutes to close out, which is probably 15 minutes longer than it should have been.
Yeah, I definitely agree that they could have perhaps played more aggressively, looked to actually finish that out. And I did think that Acadian, played a very good game because not only was it just about the first blood, but he was actually very proactive in invading and taking away camps. Gaining not only himself an XP advantage, but also Frog in there too. Being able to control the side lanes, and I think that their vision game was very good to kind of enable that split push and enable them to take away those camps and build that lead. But you do hope that once you're in that position, you can close out more cleanly, more quickly.
Sure.
And that's something that you're going to be looking for from them in game 2.
Yeah, definitely something you can still work on and practice. It's interesting. Yesterday, I was casting one of the TSM games where I was mentioning that their strength hadn't really been the last 30 minutes or so. And Weldon Green tweeted at me about it, who's, of course, with G2, was with TSM before. And he said, you can just focus on practicing your late game during your practice time and improving that maybe part of your game. And it feels like Echo Fox has done a very good job of shoring up the early game. It's back to pristine Echo Fox form. But again, past 20 minutes, I think that is definitely where the team needs some growth. And according to some inside sources, apparently people who kind of know the scene, you can work on that post 20 in practice, and maybe we'll see Echo Fox get improvements there over time. As you can see, the players getting ready and getting back onto their stations. We should have game 2 coming up shortly.
Yeah, and I do think that you can have focused practice in any area, even if it's just simply in where you spend most of your time in VOD reviews, in preparing strategies and talking about map movements and what you actually should be doing. Obviously, you can play those games out and try to play longer games and set up scenarios and things like that within the game that you would want to practice. But a lot of it does come down, I think, to knowing situations and knowing what you're supposed to do in those situations. So I think that VOD review and those sorts of things with coaches are so big in making these correct late game decisions because it's hard to do it in the moment, but once you have seen a situation and you do it the wrong way, you can be taught the right way to do it, and you can kind of remember how you're supposed to do it.
As long as you can drill it and get that to become second nature, because when the lights are on and the crowd is cheering and there's things going on, it is always a bit harder to do what you practice exactly right, but the more you get that practice, the better off you are. And we are ready to go here with game 2. Liquid hoping to get something back. Sadly for them, it's been 0-3 in games, the exact opposite of what Echo Fox have had. But there have been close ones. There have been signs of life for Liquid. It's just they've been a bit dim, and we'll see if it can happen here. Shen banned off the table. You see that with Liquid willing to first pick it. Echo Fox don't want to give that one away, and we retain that same red side Zac ban.
And I honestly would like to see a team like TL just draft something extremely simple. Draft something with very simple win conditions, whether it's 1-3-1, you draft very strong side lanes, or you draft something with a ton of wave clear. Like, you just have to do something very, very simple, I think, and stick to the basics because they're struggling in the macro game. Like, the actual individual players play, I think, is fine. It's just that they're not being able to keep up as a team, and on the LCS level, that's more what it comes down to rather than just being good in lane.
Yep, absolutely agree. That's the big skill that gets tested for the most part. Lulu off the table as well, so Echo Fox actually removing a lot of the tools that Liquid had used before with that giant Kog'Maw, and they maybe aren't willing to just rely on a great 50 minutes again. Galley off the table means a Kennen first pick, blind pick comes through for Echo Fox. Lane dominant from the top side is the name of the day.
It definitely is. I mean, there are some picks that can compete with it. You look at, really, when you're looking at solo queue, if you look at any of the top challenger top laners, it's like Fiora, Jace, Kennen. That's pretty much the 3 champions that everyone plays, because those are those kind of simple win condition. You bully lane, you split push, and that's kind of how you get your edge. And I do think that something like a Jace can sometimes match up okay against a Kennen. You can fight it out pretty well. You obviously can go ways like Galio and just try to wave clear and hold on. That can work out pretty well too.
Now Liquid getting some pretty powerful picks themselves. Lulu off the table, they grab up the Karma. I think we are in a world where you can go for shielding supports or playmakers. We've seen Bards and Rakans do well, but it's kind of up to team style right now, and Liquid clearly pretty happy to play for shielders down to the bot lane. Rain never takes away the Elise that Acadian played prior, and maybe we get to see the Visayan duo out of Echo Fox here. There's Xayah locked in. Rakan is possible to follow. I don't think she has to be flanked by the Rakan, but we've seen it together most times, more often than not, and they will allow a Rakan ban to come through if they don't want to play against it. Lee Sin instead grabbed for Acadian.
I think it's kind of smart if you're impartial, like if you don't really care about if you have Rakan or not, maybe the other team is willing to actually spend a ban on it. And there is the Jace, so that Jace could actually, be going mid lane. It could be going top lane to match up against the Kennen. If you are playing range versus range carry in the top lane, you really do want jungle attention there, because that is going to be so snowbally that whoever kind of gets that first kill, that first pick, can often take over in that lane.
Absolutely, and in fact, I think it's multiple flex picks as well. I can see Karma easily going mid, especially in a Jace game. You're going to run almost always physical damage bot lane, physical damage top lane. You want some magic damage somewhere. The Elise helps. And then you might see it somewhere in that mid lane role with the Karma. But we'll have to see what it's going to be. Tom Kench banned off the table alongside the Rakan. So they are removing tank supports away from Gate.
And that makes quite a bit of sense, I think. But there's a lot of picks still available for support, obviously. You can go for things like if you want to go lane focus, something like a Nami. Zyra can pair up there pretty well. Lulu is banned and Karma is taken off the table, so you're not going to maybe get a premier shielding support, but you still have very powerful laners available here.
Definitely agree. We're going to see that the Caitlyn and the Lucian dropped off the table. Similar bans to before. This time Twitch is allowed, but Piglet going to go for something a bit safer, and he decided that he wants to have more lane control. Xayah not necessarily a huge bully in her own right. Usually players consider the laning phase a bit weaker, but it's going to be Varus picked up anyway, as Keith's Xayah will go up against Piglet's Varus. And Sejuani and Talia come through, so Sejuani into the support role, I'm guessing, for Gate with the Talia mid.
Yeah, I've actually heard about some players practicing this, and we have to remember Gate was the guy who brought out the Camille support, and he's willing to actually do some of these things. I've been hearing that Lemonation was actually, playing this in solo queue and seeing some of the guys playing in solo queue. You can look at their accounts, and some of them are experimenting with some pretty wacky stuff. It doesn't always come out into LCS, but Gate obviously has the confidence in his solo queue picks to bring them stage.
It's going to be fun. The final pick comes through as a Cassiopeia mid lane for Solution, which means it is going to be Lorlo taking Jace into the top lane against Looper's Kennen. That is about as solo queue as a matchup can get with an Elise and Elise Sin. I mean, it's really like we just drafted a challenger solo queue game right here. The top half of the map going to be very fun to watch for. And I'm excited about how Sejuani Xayah plays against this. I feel like they get pushed in, but Xayah does work well when kiting back. We'll see what happens.
One thing I will say, when you're actually using that Sejuani, it has a massive amount of CC. So if you can actually queue in, you have the knock up, then you can actually land your hits for the passive, you can freeze them, and that would set up very easy feathers to actually pull back through for the root. So not only would you get the shatter damage, you'd land an easy root after that. So that's kind of like a 3-part CC chain that you could pull off, and the all-in potential could be pretty high there if they're not getting poked out and really bullied early on.
Absolutely, we'll see what happens here. Some new picks coming in, very exciting for me. Liquid, though, without a tank, meaning you can maybe crash through the front line. Sejuani and Lee Sin going to do the best they can for that job. Not always the tankiest in their respective roles, but we'll see what comes through. Froggen's Talia coming in, and Keith off Ashe duty for this match. That was the running joke for him from before, and he's off actually branching out. He had done very well in the laning phase, was actually a key member of why the early game did so well with all the recalls and stuff they had focused off against Liquid. So now on Xayah, we'll see what Keith can do.
Yeah, they actually did really well in lane last game, I think, and definitely deserve some credit for that early game. This is a massively different type of early game 2v2 that they're going to be running, though. Xayah, which you've said, most people don't consider to be really a strong early laner, and Sejuani, which you can't really imagine is a strong early laner unless it's in the all-in type situation.
Yeah.
This is going to be really interesting. It also does set up for some pretty powerful team fighting at the later stages of the game if you can actually make it happen.
Yeah, I'm thinking about what can happen against Liquid's bot lane because it is interesting to me. As you mentioned, there's a lot of CC on Sejuani, so the hit confirm is there for Xayah to land the root afterwards. And I'm pretty sure if Gate flash Qs, Keith, if he's watching for it, is guaranteed a root, which means there's all the time in the world for Acadian to come in with a Lee Sin gank as well. And Varus has no natural escapes. The Karma shield's going to be low level early on, and I think I can definitely see some ganks coming in the bot lane.
And I do believe you can actually Q flash on the Sejuani, so you can actually
almost for certain.
Land that just like with Body Slam Flash so that it's almost unavoidable. It's extremely hard to react to those. And that is going to be something that could really have some good follow-up from Acadian, as you said. Plus, at later levels, I mean, if you're looking at a level 6 Talia, you're looking at a post 6 Gate, the ultimate and the CC following up there is so easy. If you hit the Sejuani ult, you get the guaranteed root. You have your Talia rock surfing in. Like, there's a lot of CC and setup there. But I think so much of this game could come down to top lane, where you called it out. I mean, it's essentially a solo queue battle here. These are two of the most popular solo queue champions. If you ever watched Lolo's stream, the guy almost only plays Jason Fiora. So it's like these are matchups that he should know the ins and outs of. And if he ever wanted, his time to kind of shine and really show off his individual mechanics and skill, a matchup like this would be it.
Absolutely agree. And I've always liked Looper for his affinity for playing some kind of funner matchups. I remember him at 2014 World Championship bringing out, what was it, Kale into a Kali or something random when they played Samsung Blue, and he was like super sick on the Kale. So definitely excited to see Looper play as well. He's been one of the more fun top laners in pro play. And we'll see, he's going to get the first push, looks like, against this Jace. Yeah, definitely has a +1 minion lead. And you can see that the way the matchup is played is you kill the minion as fast as possible, you want to get the push lead, and then if you get level 2 first, maybe you can find a trade.
Yeah, and I mean, what Lorlo's kind of saving his Q for is if the cannon ever actually steps too close to the minion, then you can actually Q the minion, you can splash onto him as well. So you can look for trades like that. But yeah, a lot of it is going to be about poke, about trying to push in and harass your opponent under the turret as they're trying to CS. But both of these champions do have pretty powerful all-in, and Jace in particular, if he gets ahead, can be so ridiculously oppressive with the Storm Raider Surge, because you're going up against a pretty squishy champion. You can proc that with the Shock Blast and then all-in and hammer form pretty easily.
Here's Rain over level 3 gang, looks for Froggen. Ooh, that was nice by Froggen. He tried to bait out the flash, but still the chase is on for Sluji. Here comes Acadian. Does not land the Q, though. It wouldn't have been a lethal damage amount, and he would have lost his life for probably Acadian, but Froggen pushed out with both summoners down.
Yeah, good sidestep from Slushi, still avoiding the Q from Acadian on the backside of that. Because he would have probably gotten chunked out quite a bit because he's almost out of mana. Rainover was out of mana, so it could have been traded back, but it's a lot of summoners used, and it actually goes positive for Echo Fox as it's 3 summoners blown for the 2 of Froggen.
Right, Acadian got to keep his flash up, and now looking for Slushi. Can he find the damage? The knockback is going to land! No way out! Beautiful counter gank comes through, and look at that, the follow-through on the setup, as you mentioned it. It was better for them, and there's the kill. Well played. Echo Fox find another First Blood on Acadian, 2 games in a row.
Yeah, the First Blood King is back. I mean, all last season he was getting them. He gets one in game 1, gets one in game 2, doing very well, and meanwhile in the bot lane, turns out you get pushed in pretty hard to Sejuani.
Who would have thought? And this is just really good skill shots by Froggen. The move speed from the worked ground puts him in range for it.
It does, and you can criticize a little bit Slushi going beside the turret there because he's pigeonholing himself into a position where there's no way to juke side to side against that seismic shove. So you would want to stay in a more open area to have a hope of dodging that out, but that is very nitpicky.
Of course, the other side of it is you walk toward Acadian a bit closer, which you don't want to do either, and you got to pick one. Either way, the kill comes through, and well played Echo Fox for making it all happen. Another good early game for the squad. This time, of course, not the winning bot lane, at least not just yet. But Acadian still has his flash. Maybe you can turn that around later on. Top lane fight is equal. 2 minions separates them. So far, so good on both sides. Looper, of course, had blind pick that. And look at the damage there. Stun's going to land, so a bit of a trade back onto Acadian. They're still fighting for this one. Pretty low health bars, and Acadian is forced to hop away. Rainover reveals him and says, all right, back to my jungle I go.
And Slushi was the faster one on the roam there, so you don't even want to stick around to find out if you win because you'll guaranteed give that kill over to Slushi if you do, which would be a kill and assist even in a trade.
Gonna land a lot of slows there. Gonna force the flash out of Piglet. Root's gonna land for Matt, though. Good trade and a gate. 100 health left on him. They're gonna have to burn the Summon Hill to keep him alive. Matt had used Ignite, and now Keith also forced a flash away. That trade won by Liquid.
Yeah, very heavily. I mean, the Ignite coming out, no exhaust was ever actually used by Gate.
Yeah.
So Piglet was uninhibited, getting all that damage out the whole time. And the early Ignite onto Gate, forcing him back. They do get Flash off of Piglet, though. And now you have the Flash and the exhaust left on Gate. So you want to call Acadian down and try to get an all-in here onto Piglet. This is your window of opportunity, and we'll see if they can actually pull it off.
Acadian pings. There's no wards down there. I'm not seeing. He's waiting to see if Scuttle's going to happen. No, that's available to him. Elise is actually topside. And as you mentioned, yeah, that bot lane gank would be available. They don't know that Rainover's nowhere to be seen. Mid lane, gigantic lead for Frog, and the kill obviously helps. He was winning lane before already in the first game, and this matchup a bit different now. Looking again for Solution, this time going to dodge the seismic shove and pushed out.
Not able to land that, and that's really the key part of the combo from Talia. It's essentially the whole combo is landing that seismic shove, and it does so much damage if you are able to pull it off. But Acadian not having the confidence to actually go bot, didn't know where Rainover was, if he's there for a counter gank, and when your lane is kind of in the weaker position, if you go for that gank and it doesn't actually work out, it can be pretty brutal. But at the same time, I mean, Keith is falling pretty far behind in the bot lane CS here too.
And minus 20 is a rough thing right here. Still, the gold difference is 700, roughly accounts for the first blood itself. More poke onto this one. And looks like it's going to be the holding pattern still in the bot lane. Liquid, safe enough in pushing. It is always risky being a no-escape marksman.
Rainover's behind.
Forever. All right, let's see what happens. Yeah, we've got Acadian winning the wings, and Rainover looking for the mid side. Froggen, though, far off to the left, and no gank to be had there.
Yeah, and Froggen's got so much damage down on Slushy that they can't even attempt the gank because Slushy can't join without actually dying. So Froggen is now 6. He could look to roam bot as well. Piglet is still here, has no flash.
Exhaust on the Piglet, low health. He's going to go for the knockout. Going to survive a few seconds longer, but Piglet just withstands all the damage. Output had heal, and even then it wouldn't have mattered. He's healthy enough. So Gate fighting up more than he could shoot. Never got to flash out.
Never got to flash out, and he hadn't bought. Neither had Piglet, but Piglet able to withstand that damage. Unfortunately for them, the kill actually goes to Matt, so the kill credit you'd certainly prefer on your AD carry, but they're still doing very well for themselves.
Difference of 150 gold because of who the kill went on to, and Piglet, we'll see, still able to buy a cutlass and boots with it. Shouldn't be too bad.
Yeah, and obviously Gate just does not expect them to actually still be here. He tries to proc that passive very quickly over onto Piglet, and they do eventually actually get the freeze, but didn't seem like it actually shattered there.
I don't think he got the last auto attack. No, he got the freeze itself. Now look at the kick flash, and he's going to be a kill in the top lane. Acadian continues to make the big plays for Echo Fox. Both solo lanes winning, even if Keith and Gate are behind.
Yeah, really nicely done. And it just feels like Rainover is not able to match him just yet. But Gate here in the mid lane couldn't get this freeze.
That's going to be a stun. That's going to be the shatter damage as well. And just look at the explosion there. Rainover actually flashed to do nothing with Cocoon.
What a roam from Gate, and they just delete the mid laner. They've killed Lorlo now too, and we talked about how swingy these matchups can be. In carry versus carry matchups, can be pretty tough if you fall behind. So we'll see if Lupin can now, make an advantage happen from this help from Acadian.
See what he can get out of it. Right now, this game is 1,600 in the lead for Echo Fox. The kills in the solo lanes. Everyone pitching in a little bit here. And the blue buff's still going to be the reward on top of it. Froggen gets the damage output, gets the nice mana regen, and out he goes. And honestly, at this point, as long as Keith can just withstand the bot lane, the rest of the lanes are going to win for him.
Oh, and this is actually pretty risky. You're TPing in to Kennen, who has the ultimate there, and that was pretty disrespectful from Lorlo. Those kind of TPs, I just feel like are so needlessly risky. When the wave is already pushing towards you, it's not like he had to shove it out. You can just TP to your turret. If he simply TPs to his turret, that dive is so much harder to actually make happen when Looper hasn't even purchased. Instead, he's trying to TP in on the minion so he can immediately go in on Looper. But with Acadian there, he just kills himself.
Totally agree, and Acadian finds more things to take down. A Cloud Drake still over him. Very happy to see that under 10 minutes into this one, so it could be another very highly stacked Drake game for Echo Fox if they need it to close games out like they did in the previous one. We will see. It's going to be a lot of games still to play. This matchup has started to go a bit more Looper's way. He's got the 10 minion lead now, and of course the tilter is always dying when you just TP'd back, so of course that's the entire wave he had lost.
Yep. And it's so impactful in top lane if you do die after a TP, because not only are you going to lose the gold, so much of it is about the experience.
Ooh, almost finds a bit more on a Frog, and that was a bit close one. The flash used, the trade with Slushy, of course, as well. Rainover was in the wings. Matt was nearby as well. And hey, trading flash for flash up a double roam, not too bad.
Not bad at all, and Gate is 6, Froggen is 6, so they have a lot of playmaking. They could actually look for Piglet here. if they want to go for that dive. And Froggen is moving down in position to use this Thalia wall. We'll see if they actually decide to make the play, but at the very least, they're pressuring down this turret and may just take the first turret right off the bat.
It looks like he will save the opening in case something else happens. He was confident that the turret would fall without the extra help, and that indeed did happen. So, four-man squad makes bottom, outer fall. First turret gold for Echo Fox. They're getting first everything this series.
Yeah, really well done. And I mean, they move around the map here very well. And that was your losing lane. The only lane that was really having trouble was that bot lane. So, taking down the turret there, you can move your bot lane mid. You can kind of allow them to have a safe place to farm if you want to go for that. And it's going to really take away any problems that they were having.
Absolutely agree. And it's always interesting seeing teams go to the source of the deficit, because sometimes that can be a losing proposition. You go to where they've got a gold lead. If they match you, kind of lose that fight. But no, it's now just wins everywhere for Echo Fox.
And I do agree, but in this case, I don't think it was one where they could be matched, because Slushie was very low on mana. They knew he was going back to base, and you move four-man bot. You don't they didn't actually go for any dive. They just push them back, and if three men show up, you say, hey, no problem, back off. Wasn't really much of a commitment.
And it worked out well. 3,000 gold now, the lead for Echo Fox here, and Gate continuing to roam. Now he and Keith are top side, looking for more outer turrets to kill.
And remember, this is a flashless Lorlo, so if he got too aggressive, they could look to kill him, but this has been matched. There's actually 4 Liquid members up top. I do not believe Echo Fox is aware of that, rather, just yet.
You see, too, is they can expect that Matt is coming nearby, and otherwise they don't really have the easy track on Reignover, but they can expect 3 and infer that number. Slushie back in the mid lane still, but that is a nearly 30 minion deficit for him under Froggen. And unfortunately for Liquid, they would hope that the problem was simply Golden Glue, but it's not. It is not simply who you put in the mid lane. There's, of course, more going on here. And the fourth memes are a wistful dream at this point.
Yeah, and to be honest, Golden Glue did actually do pretty well as far as farm in lane against Hugi, and he stayed relatively even in that regard. It's just more of the map movements and everything that they struggle with, and Slushie is a new addition to the team, and usually that's not going to be the guy who just fixes your shot calling right off the bat.
Of course not, and maybe it's going to be a form that Liquid can work on and get better at from there. Is just may take some time for this mix to really solidify. We'll have to wait and see. Top lane is still the target of priority for Echo Fox. Gate and Keith remaining on this side, and it's really the only team to really cast from, because they're the only team making moves right now in this series. Piglet wave clearing, gets one minion from the backside, gets a Karma Shield, and out he goes. Akaden here to help with the duo and help knock down another turret. This will be 2-0 and outer turrets. Echo Fox continue to be the only team doing well in macro in this game so far. Bigger lead. And
it just has felt like, across all of the TL games so far this season, anytime you look at, okay, the other team's jungler is doing something, well, what's Reignover doing? He's usually just kind of farming. He's not even really opening up a big farm lead or by any means. He's had so many games like this where, no, he's not dying or anything, but what is he getting done for the team? He's not really putting on a lot of pressure. He's not really accomplishing any ganks, and Looper is actually behind Lorlo here.
Looking for the ulti under the turret, getting plenty of damage. Of course, the minion's gone. He now took a turret shot, finds another stun. Cocoon, nice juke by Looper, gets away with it. That would have probably secured his death, but he juked it out. Blue team is taking the Rift Herald, so Looper pulls a 1v2. Rift Herald still goes down on the top side.
And that Rift Herald being taken is so good now because there's 2 low members from TL, so you can immediately go top and drop that Rift if you want, and very likely get an uncontested tier 2, but Looper
4v1.
Get out of here.
He's got Flash. He's gonna get rooted no matter what. Matt flashes and barely lands that one. Now he's rooted up, and now the kill's coming through. Reignover gets himself a kill finally, and the room to the bot side does work, so bot outer will fall for the pressure, but of course top's being attacked now.
I mean, bot will fall, but will they lose their inhibitor turret because the Rift Herald is available? It's just been summoned. They're actually gonna go mid with that, so they're gonna try to pressure top alone, and then use the Rift in combination with Froggen to be able to take down multiple turrets, and they may get 2 or 3 turrets here pretty easily, because they're going to rotate for mid tier 2 now as well. 2 turrets have already gone down for Echo Fox. They could get a third.
2 for 1. Will it be 3? Can it even be more? There's always a chance. Minions fall off and the turret refocuses into the Rift Herald itself. They could have recall. There's going to be a lot of damage here. They might just defend it. Stun comes across. Looking to buy some more time and knock back on him. Matt, they're going to take him with one more shot. The minions cannot quite kill him, and Piglet saves the heal. He knew his lane mate was fine the whole time.
Or he didn't think he was worth the heal, one or the other.
I was giving him benefit of the doubt for that one. Looper, of course, just stayed in the bot lane. He did get picked off. The 4v1 is too much. He did not this time around retreat in time. But still, of course, it's still an advantage for Echo Fox here.
Yeah, and Looper was going for the 1v1 play, and I think he certainly would have had this had Reignover not shown up, but a really nice little sidestep did allow him to avoid that, and now multiple members down here. Looper without flash. He's going to try to just buy time and run away.
Return to the scene of the crime. The rest of the team is around. Lands a slow, looks to kite off on a rain over. 3 more attacks will be a stun. He's trying to get away from this one, but now he's going to be hit up by the Cassiopeia. The chase is on. The kill comes through, and Looper sadly runs to his demise a second time.
And mid is pushing, but not enough time to actually go and get that turret because Cadian was in base, Froggen was in base, and now TL, having got that pick off, could look to try to start up this dragon and get something there.
Ooh, big plays out of Slushie, looking to pick off Froggen, flashes, but still takes a shock blast to the face and has not a lot of places to go, tries to jump the wall and gets to the other side. That was as well played as it could have been. You saw Slushie try to cue him early to knock him off, but Froggen played it so well. Nicely orchestrated escape.
That was very well done. And Slushie, ideally, I think you actually step down and then just try to E him to immediately knock off. But because he got knocked up by the actual ultimate there, he was CC'd, and Froggen slides on by.
That was definitely nice stuff right there by Froggen. So a good ult for self-preservation, but still the map priority did go to Liquid. They picked up this Drake, so signs of life. They picked up 2 kills. They made Froggen have to make a sick play to get out. The Drake was picked up. There's a long way to go, but this is, sadly to say, the best Liquid looked all series.
Yeah, and I mean, I think Liquid is definitely showing some fight here, but they are down nearly 4,000 gold. They're losing their jungle. A mid lane tier 2 is very, very low and could easily be taken down here too, which would extend that gold lead for Echo Fox. And the big thing for them last game was once they got vision control in their opponent's jungle. And as you can see, there's already 3 pink wards in the red side jungle for TL, plus some other wards, and then a 4th pink ward in the river. So they really are focusing vision back up here again, and they're going to try to threaten this side, unlock Looper in that split push, keep him safe.
Yeah, I do like Echo Fox are showing some very obvious and dedicated moves towards getting the advantage in the game. Solution not going to be part of this one. The stun barely lands from Gate. That was a tight minion, and he's going to land it, and it's going to be going down. Froggen gets the kill for that.
Cadian was looking for rain over there, but caught a Spiderling actually with that Sonic Wave. And Gate, I'm really impressed. I mean, I think that he's making this pick work. He's roaming around, they're moving around the map, and they got out of lane just fine. And now he's been a part of killing Slushie off twice and really getting that snowball going in the mid lane. Froggen is so far ahead, and Gate has been pretty impactful here. May get picked off now.
Moby's turned off, and Cadian's there for the shoot, looking to get out.
So I just love seeing unique supports like this come out, and the fact that he has the confidence to bring out something like a Sejuani. Talking to some of the pro players, one of the things that they kind of talk about is the fear of bringing out these unique picks simply because of all the criticism you'll receive if you don't make it work. I mean, if you play at Karma or whatever and you have kind of a mech game, and no one really remembers it. If you bring out Sejuani and you feed on stage, that's all anyone's going to talk about.
Of course, and sometimes those come back in and sometimes they go away forever, like maybe a Mordekaiser or a Blitzcrank, but bot lane 2-2 gonna fall, and the Taliyah wall gives them the time they need to make sure there's no reinforcements coming. It cuts off the angle of reinforcement. Now it's 5-1 in turrets. Echo Fox with a solid 5, almost 6,000 gold.
And the last outer turret is that mid lane, which is super, super low. Lorlo is pushing up top side, and they have equalized that matchup a little bit through taking down Looper a couple times, allowing Lorlo some side lane farm and kind of caught up in XP, caught up in gold a bit. So that, hopefully for them, could start going their way, because that's one way you could get back.
Look at this damage here. Luke has got nowhere to go, and sadly for him, he continues to be set up alone without the vision coverage to see when people are coming in, and Matt did not have to flash to make that happen, just simply walked up and got him.
I mean, the fact of the matter is, as a split pusher, when you do not know where the other team is and you do not have vision on them, you have to back off. You cannot actually just play so recklessly like that. The first death you can give him, the second death maybe, but this one as well, his team had just based, his team is not around there. They know that they had established vision in that jungle because Gate and Acadian just got chased out of there, but yet he's back up again, gets caught from Piglet, and Piglet didn't even have to expend a flash to catch him or anything like that.
Had to use very little ulti from Piglet, made that a bit easier. Matt has 100% kill participation and 0 deaths, so far putting in a lot of weight so far for Liquid. The comeback is still far away, but it is always possible. We know Echo Fox have had trouble closing games out, and I think it is within reach for Liquid, even though you could argue their scaling not quite as good. They don't have the same Kog'Maw as last game. Piglet can still put out good damage.
And they have Cassiopeia, which is one of the highest damage mid laners in the game. Cassio is essentially like a mid lane Kog'Maw almost. Like this champion, you don't need to build boots, so you can actually get that extra item and be incredibly strong later.
Bit of an air ball there, and out they go. I'm sure Twitch chat's yelling at Smithy right now, but he's actually 2-0.
They are now.
Yeah, I can guarantee it was already happening either way, though. Smithy himself has done very well so far this split. Echo Fox, the same. They are winning in their 4th straight game here in the North American LCS, and they're looking at the top side. Baron has spawned at 20 minutes in.
Smithy has not shown the Sejuani yet. You know, maybe his Sejuani is on point now, Freak.
That's true.
Give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he's going to be coming back.
I was just saying what
he's
Twitch
going to
chat
be
was
popping
doing.
off.
Twitch chat's unfair. I'm just pointing out the hypocrisy.
I kind of love when the negative memes turn into the positive ones.
Yeah.
You know, it's like at first, you know, the sneaky and lane thing, everyone's making fun of him. Then Sneaky be popping off, and everyone's like spamming sneaky and lane again.
Sneaky and lane lol.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely agree.
I think that stuff is great.
We'll see. What is the Azael? Is it a positive? I think it is. You're a great person.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And here we are onto the Baron Nashor. Echo Fox don't even need Froggen to do it. They've even got Looper on the bot side, and here we go. Finally, a sweeper, a Farsight trinket used, and look at the cutoff there. As long as he can zone out Rainover, and he can almost kill him. He forces the flash. He jumps to a ward to get away. Oh, that was close, but they made it happen. Blue team has secured Baron Nashor. Acadian grabs it.
Yet again, Echo Fox gets a Baron, and we'll see how fast they can actually make this one work for them. They're up massively in gold again. They have a super early Baron. Can they actually crack the base this time around? They have a lot of dive tools. They have a strong split pusher. Let's see if they can close it out quickly.
See if they can. 22 almost minutes into this one. Mid lane tier 2 falls. All 6 outer turrets are gone, as you call them. Only inhibitors left up now defended. Leaper back on the bot side. Has played for lane pressure. Sadly for him, back to 1 and 3 is not glorious, but his early pressure got some turret kills, so he's still part of the winning team for sure. This time playing a bit more defensively and going to get away with it.
And it's not like that big of a deal that he's died a few times because the rest of Raph is winning and because it has not really been at critical moments. So as long as he is creating pressure, the 4-man squad can move around and really take objectives down and kind of make use of that.
Absolutely agree. Gate loses Frost armor. Took a landing the poke there. Does very little damage. You can see that Gate has a permanent shield thanks to a support quest. I like calling them out. I find them interesting. So he's even tankier now on this champion.
Yeah. Face of the Mountain one's not bad. I think that really the standout one is Spell Thieves, just because that move speed I think is the one that
Feels
impacts gameplay the most. You know, it does feel really good also, but I mean on someone like Karma, right? You can actually get the speed up which allows you to land tether and things like that.
W is like automatic at that point.
And even Rakan, you know, move speed actually increases the pace at which you travel in your W and your ultimate and these sorts of things. So I think it can be pretty powerful and gameplay impacting on some of those champions, whereas you know, I just haven't seen the Talisman of Ascension, the coin quest really be super impactful. And the shield is nice, but it's, it doesn't really change how you play.
Yeah, it doesn't really. Maybe you live sometimes when you wouldn't have. Like, it's raw stats, right? Sometimes it matters, sometimes it doesn't. But we'll see what happens here to this one. Under the pressure, and look at the damage output. Nearly taking down Rainover. And he's got nowhere to jump to, so one final shot takes him out. Another kill credit to Froggen. 3-0-1 on this to Leah. Top lane hitter gonna fall soon enough. Lorlo being chased down by Looper. He can't get back into the base just yet. So in a 4v3, this inhib will fall. Echo Fox cracked the base in 23 minutes.
Yeah, and they have Gate on the Sejuani able to set up that dive. Rainover didn't have his flash because Froggen had forced him off the Baron. It had to be blown there, and you have some strong dive here with the Lee Sin Sejuani combo. So we may be able to see them kind of exert their will on their opponents and really look to close this one out quick because Rainover is still down. Bot lane pressure being pushed up here by Looper, and they're looking for a second inhib.
All right, 5 seconds, now 2, now 1, and Rainover's back alive. And the Baron buff slowly taking down. This wave is going to time out, and there's going to be at least one more they can use with it. Echo Fox going to push Looper in with the bot lane now, and that's going to reach. However, it is a little bit desynced with mid. A few seconds of freedom for Lorlo. And now Liquid can go back down towards this side. Oh, wow! Lorlo, yes, nearly taken down. And Piglet actually almost forces Looper out. Doesn't burn much for it, though, and mid lane's still under fire because of the resources sent bot side. Quick route lands onto Acadian. Going to be chunked low, but does get out. Mercury does help with that one, of course. And 2 automatic will knock down the middle inhibitor turret itself, so that should be broken. They won't go just yet, I guess, Keith. And to be fair, if Slucci ults you and you lose the game, that's your fault. So it's okay to be a bit more patient. Froggen finally bites the bullet and goes for it. Pops his ghost, actually. Froggen wants in. Can he find a person to kill? Not just yet, though. Lorlo's still waiting from the bot side.
And Gate does have his ult and a flash, so look for him to go for the play if they want to try to close this out. I think they should. I mean, they're in position to go for it at really no cost right now. They can go for this third and final inhibitor, and if anyone steps up, you have the diving tools.
See if they can make this one happen. Double inhibitor down, looking for a sub 30-minute win this time around, and it seems likely here. Rainover finds the stun, has to kite back, though. He's very injured. More damage. The Flash Cocoon's going to land only on the minions. No stuns to be had. Good kiting back by Echo Fox to see it coming.
Top lane is pushing in very heavily with the supers being here, so Lorlo's going to have to go up to answer this, and this next wave is going to be a big time of vulnerability for TL as they're being pushed in mid, pushed in top, and that turret is very close to dying. Echo Fox still with all their flashes and their engage tools.
And this is the tool to close it out there. No way out, no flash still for Rainover, and dies during the stun. Matt's got no retreat path either, and doesn't matter that he flashed. That's 2 kills picked up. The inhibitor turret falling as well. And even the inhibitor going to be next up. 5 versus 3, enough spells still available. Slicing Maelstrom in case they want to dive. That's going to be almost it here for this one. Echo Fox has almost no way of dropping this one away. Good chunk on the Keith. Staying alive for now, though. Liquid hoping to defend this somehow is a miracle in a 3v5. More damage out of Slushy. Frog into the front lines. Takes some turret aggro, which makes it a bit risky. They're still undamaged. And yeah, it's going to be maybe a kill if they can get one shot into Acadian. Has to jump away to stay alive. It's going to be out for Echo Fox. Now Looper actually beset. Attacked by Lorlo. Piglet's in the fight as well. Can't get the one picked off, but can Piglet do the damage? One auto attack, 2. Summon heal for the chase. Flash to get away. Trade of summoners, and out goes Echo Fox.
Still very well done for Echo Fox. They didn't need to actually end there because they have all the inhibs down. Infernal is coming up to collect, and they can go back, buy, reset, and clean this one up pretty easily. And Rainover, he tries to get into spider form to repel quickly enough, but when that Sejuani ultimate hits you, it's an easy seismic shove for Froggen on the Talia, and that is going to be a death sentence.
Absolutely is. Don't even need Thresh to make it so. 3-kill lead, 13,000 gold puts him up.
A smart,
yeah, 3 out of 10, that's all I need. That's roughly my skill level in anything. And here we go. Echo Fox, triple inhibitor down. Honestly, there's so little that can be done about this one. I don't think they wait for Baron this time around. Double supers in every single wave. They spawn 12 per minute. And there's almost not even enough damage on Liquid to kill them off before another one spawns.
Exactly. I mean, when there's 6 supers coming into your base at a time, you essentially need something like a Jinx with Hurricane or like, you know, Kog'Maw, some sort of hyper carry to really keep up with the wave clear. Otherwise, you essentially just have to walk into the base and allow the ambient pressure of the minions to really do the work for you.
Skate only going to find a slow with the ultimate. Just a little bit of damage done, but not a ton. Matt's okay on this. And they're going to wait. Let's see which side Echo Fox comes in from. Looking to wait for top lane to join this time around. A couple of wards inside the base, and Liquid know this is their final stand between a 0-4 game start. Matt completes his quest, but the quest for victory might not be there. Rainover forced to flash away yet again. Great wall out of Froggen. They're forced to summon a spell. And now on to the turrets they're going to go. Gate going to take up some of the damage. The minion waves are here. They nearly pick off Rainover, forced to repel away the other side of the minion wave. And bot lane now attack. The supers are there to do all the damage to the buildings they need. First turret falls, second one to follow. Open Nexus, and Echo Fox gonna 2-0 Liquid with a grand total of 18 kills across the series. There's a few more can fall, but the Nexus is under fire. Piglet forced to kite back. One more kill picked up in the end, and less than 20 kills results in a 2-0 victory for Echo Fox.
And a 4-0 weekend, they win both their series, 2-0s apiece, and Echo Fox have got to be very happy about their start to the season. And Team Liquid is in the exact opposite situation. They didn't even pick up a single game win this time around, and honestly, we're never close really against Echo Fox today.
No, not at all. It's been early game advantages kind of the whole way through. A kill in the bot lane didn't mean that much for Piglet and Matt. So for Echo Fox, it's almost the right kind of 2-0 week. You won and you feel good, but you also see the mistakes that you can work on.
Yeah.
Say, look, we're good enough to get the wins, but here's the evidence of things we want to get better at. That game 1, again, I think was very slow. Game 2 definitely looked a lot better, so it seemed like even in this one, they cleaned up some elements there. And Echo Fox, maybe they're back to the odd week, even week curse from the spring split, but certainly it's a good start, and I can't wait to see more from them in week 2, because what I'm really happy about is that it seems like we're back to beginning spring split Acadian, where he felt confident he was on early playmakers. I know he had felt dissatisfied with the jungle a few months ago and thought that the role got a lot weaker and had no impact. Well, clearly not the case here. He certainly did a lot this day.
Yeah, he really did. He was able to move around the map well, be very impactful, and I think the fact that Froggen had such a standout week is very promising.
Super
Plus,
good.
that Keith is actually doing a pretty good job in lane in general, and he's not just playing like Ashe, he's playing multiple champions. I think that is going to give him a bit of a confidence boost, and the team a confidence boost in him, because seeing that he can perform on multiple champions in like multiple type of types of roles for the AD carry is really important, right? Like the team
Totally agree.
has to believe in your AD carry and believe that you can run all these different comps if you're ever going to be a top team.
Absolutely, and I think about game one where, yes, it's an advantageous matchup for Keith and Gate, but they did win lane against Piglet and Matt, and we know Piglet's a great player, Matt's very good too, and the fact that you can make all your jokes about Keith you want, they won the lane, and you know they got first turret here in this one as well, despite maybe one small backstep there in the early game here, so it seems like improvement kind of all across the board for Echo Fox. On the other side, though, for Liquid, it's exactly where it feels like this roster left off, and as we saw from this one, you know, maybe it's not even Golden Glue who's the problem. As you mentioned, he had some good laning stats in the first match, but there's clearly more wrong here than just, oh, well, you got to find yourself a real mid laner. They got to find themselves some real shot calling.
Yeah. I mean, it really does feel like, for lack of a better word, they're playing to not lose. In a lot of the situations, no one's really making proactive plays. No one's really trying to step up and carry the game. Nothing much is happening, and it's one of those situations where you just kind of curl up in this defensive ball, and you just, okay, we'll give that up. Okay, we'll give that up. We'll give that up. And you can't just give up everything in League of Legends, because once you lose control of your jungle, once you lose control of your outer turrets and stuff, like the gold lead just compounds. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger because they're farming both sides of the map.
Yeah, I mean, this is League of Legends, not League of Rammus. Calling up the defensive ball is not okay, and that's the situation we've had here for Liquid, where they have yet to really strike out and find much. So unfortunate for them, but still a great win for Echo Fox. And so for more on that series, let's hear from a player and pastry time who's got an interview.
Thank you very much. I'm here with the support of Echo Fox, Gate. Gate, congratulations on an excellent weekend here for Echo Fox. How are you feeling after such a great week one?
I'm feeling good. I wasn't earlier. I had a fever, but now, after we won 2-0, I feel much better.
Well, good to see you feeling a lot better. And of course, Gate, you're a man of many ingenious ideas last spring. We enjoyed your support, Camille. This time, support Sejuani. Is this something you've been playing with? Do you think it's good? Kind of, what was the inspiration behind the pick today?
Every time I go to Korea to boot camp, I always come back with some new toys. In Korea, they know me as the pig god. So now, this is one of my new pocket picks.
All right, so looking good there. And of course, on kind of practice for Echo Fox, you guys have kind of a lot of different rumors, I almost want to say, about how you guys are practicing. And are you just playing a challenger team? Are you scrimming? What can you tell us about kind of the Echo Fox preparation coming into the split, and maybe how that's fed into how well you guys are doing early on?
Without saying too much, I think we have a 10-man roster, and we kind of just focus on our own practice. And beyond that, we just focus on one thing at a time, not too unlike other teams. So I wouldn't say our practice is much different.
Well, it's looking pretty good so far. And of course, my last question for you. Very interesting schedule for you guys next week, playing CLG and Cloud9. Of course, CLG looking very strong. C9, not the best week for them, but there's Cloud9. I'm sure they'll still be a tough opponent. What are your expectations for those matches? Do you think Echo Fox can continue going undefeated for another week?
Well, I'm not too quite sure, but you know, I think it'll definitely be a harder week than this, just because of matchups. But that being said, we're just gonna go into it the same as this week.
Well, it makes a lot of sense, Kate. Thank you very much. Congratulations on the weekend. Echo Fox looking good. They were going to pass it back to the analyst desk to round out the day.
Thank you very much, Pastry Time. Echo Fox joining our rank of 2-0 teams at the end of week one. Again, the whole picture of the NALCS has been flipped on its head from what spring delivered to us. But I'm just very pleased with the games put together by Echo Fox, a team that we had always talked about suffering from inaction, inability to close even when they had leads, and only extending games to the point where it's a 6-item fight and then it's a 50-50. Whoever wins it wins the game. That's not at all what we're seeing here. 31-minute game one. This game sneaking in right around that 30-minute mark as well. Just complete domination.
Yeah, I think the thing, too, is it's not that different stylistically from what we've seen. A lot of these advantages are coming off the back of Froggen and Acadian. This time around, once again, they have the gank in the mid lane to get Froggen rolling after all the summoner trades came from Rainover's initial attempt. He also went topside, swayed the Kennen matchup in away from Jace's favor. And then once Gate kind of had more room to work on the map after that initial mistake in the bot lane, he also started getting involved in a lot of the kills as well. And then that's where they started to show their improvements.
Right, and if we're going to talk about the Sejuani pick, we did see, of course, it struggle a little bit in lane. CS deficit for the Xayah as a result of being pushed in consistently by Piglet and Matt, as well as giving up that single kill in the 2v2. But we saw the effectiveness of the Sejuani in roaming mid to push the advantages already created by Froggen and Acadian. 2 ganks / counter ganks into the mid lane by Gate to pick up kills.
And the initial death, it looked like they're going for all-ins with the Xayah plus the Sejuani, and maybe it works. It didn't look super strong in terms of the damage it was throwing out. Maybe not quite as strong of a kill lane, but like you said, once it gets out of laning phase, especially once the Sejuani unlocks her ultimate, she starts having crazy CC available to her, and that's when she starts making a mid laner's life very difficult when you're on an immobile mage like Cassiopeia.
And if we really want to go down the rabbit hole with this is the kind of thing that, as Pastry mentioned, we looked at the Camille support last split for Gate. Having a pick like this, just a single pocket pick in, for any given meta, does wonders in terms of developing, or rather freeing up strategies for your team in champion select. So now, from this point onward, every team has to consider the Sejuani support coming out of the bot lane, as opposed to going top or jungle or anywhere else.
If I have to be honest, probably still not going to get that much attention from other teams. It didn't look super dominant in lane, and then sure, it can punish an immobile mage with no summoners. A lot of things can do that if you're looking at a playmaking support.
Right. Yeah. This isn't to say that now it needs to be banned. By no means do I think
it's
the
nice to have that
performance put
wrinkle.
up here says it needs to be banned. But again, if we first pick Sedge,
where's it going?
Where's it going,
Exactly.
right? It at least does that for you, is all I'm saying. Player of the game this time around, gonna go to Froggen, as, again, those advantages were created in the mid lane. Does a wonderful job avoiding the aggressive first gank from Team Liquid, and then, because of that, able to capitalize on the blown summoners from Slushy and return kill.
Talia, a strong laner. No surprise, Froggen can coordinate ganks with his team and set up a lot of kills. The most impressive thing was the Talia ults out of lane, being able to secure like the bot inner turret as an example.
48% damage, am I reading that right?
I missed that. That's a
right
big
there.
number.
Oh my, I didn't see, we didn't get that stat yet until just now. 48% of his team's damage in the win versus Team Liquid.
And that's not with low damage champions either. I mean, Kennen can do some damage.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, again, more props to Froggen and the way that he's at least kicked off his split. And while we talk about all the improvements that Echo Fox has made and the 2-0 at the outset of the split, I think we also need to talk about the elephant in the room. Team Liquid and their roster and everything surrounding that. So let's work through this one beat at a time.
Sure.
With Golden Glue in the lineup in mid and Piglet at ADC, you're games away from relegation in spring split. You do what you need to do to survive from that, and you return to the summer split with that roster. Point one, I take issue with you returning to a new split with a roster that wasn't performing to begin with. Compounding on that, when after 1 day's worth of games, you sub out Golden Glue and put Slushy in, I take issue number 2, which is that if you're going to reinvest in the same roster, fully reinvest in that same roster and let it develop. Give them time to find their footing. Don't make the change right out the gate.
So there's a couple things. We never heard publicly anywhere, as far as I'm aware, that Team Liquid commented on why this roster move happened.
Exactly.
So maybe there's a personal reason. Maybe Golden Glue couldn't play today. He got sick. We have no idea what could have happened. But the initial opinion, the assumption that you would make is that this was a management decision. And if that is the case, then you do have to start wondering, why did you bring Golden Glue back? Was he just going to be, was it a dual mid system? Because they never announced that. They had the video they released, Squad, that video series that they have. And in that, they kind of talked about, we're believing in Golden Glue and he's going to be the guy. And hopefully this season is the one that works out.
Right.
And if you yank him after one game, why was that the messaging? Now your fans are confused. Everyone's upset about it, let alone the fact that, like you said, you're not initially happy with the roster. It's just this huge question mark about what is going on in this organization.
Yeah, I mean, so, hey, maybe we'll get some clarity over the coming days as to why the decision was made, and understanding that everything we just said is speculation, as there hasn't been an announcement from the team. But that's the point exactly. That as a fan, as a viewer, I'm sitting here and I'm wondering why Team Liquid is making the decisions or making the changes they're making, and I don't follow the logic. I'm left only to ruminate in my own brain as to why this could be, and I don't feel like the team is being set up for success organizationally at this point.
And to be fair to both Slushy and Golden Glue, I mean, you have to imagine, put yourself in their shoes, like, what is it like being Golden Glue? Do you think he's happy with the situation? I don't want to put any more weight on his shoulders because he didn't perform that well in Spring Split. You bring him back in Summer with nothing changing other than perhaps the meta and coaching staff a little bit. I don't want people to jump on his back.
I was going to say, let's also be clear, this is in no way an attempt to start a witch hunt for the two mid laners, because overall the 2 losses that the team sustained this weekend were entirely team losses. I wouldn't say that any of the losses rest on a single individual's shoulder. shoulders at any point.
It seems like the team kind of rolls over and dies at the first mistake. I wouldn't say that it's necessarily, a mid problem, a shot calling problem. It's, Rainover died once early, and then in this game, Slushie gets counter-ganked once early, and then for the most part, everyone's kind of off doing their own thing, and there's just no synergy at all within this team.
Continued struggles for Team Liquid as they are on the outset of the summer split. Now, as we wrap up the weekend, it's time to recognize which players stood out above the rest with the most player of the game honors. Someday and Froggen end week 1 on top with 3 awards each, while both Aphromoo and Lyra walk away with 2 accolades to their name. I mean, the big ones that jump out at me here is, hey, not Froggen. Aphromoo returning to kind of his playmaking form that we weren't seeing so much in the spring split. And then Someday, again, the talk of the town coming into spring, and here he is in summer showing up.
Yeah, having a little bit more synergy that's pre-built. Obviously, Dignitas was put together pretty quickly at the start of spring split. And like you said with Afro, just the meta coming around and letting him grab a lot more. It wasn't just him missing some player of the games in spring split. A lot of supports were having a hard time racking those up when you're stuck on Karma, Lulu, Zyra.
Of course, we'll be tracking that throughout the season as a whole. Now let's take a look at the standings as we come out of week 1 of the summer split. I mean, not sure what the over-under was on these results, but our top 4 teams from the spring split are collectively 1-7, Mark. What's going on there?
You want me to tell you?
Yes, that's why I brought you on. You're the expert.
No one knows what's going on. If you wanted to tell me, yeah, Counter Logic Gaming is going to go 2-0 and maybe Cloud9 goes 0-2, sure. But to have all the teams struggling this hard with only TSM being the one to pick up a match win is insane, considering that when you looked at the start of this offseason, it didn't seem like that many roster changes were happening, some small coaching staff changes. So anyone who would have predicted this, it wasn't like this league is going to get totally shook up. I think there was even a concern it was going to be too similar to last split.
Strength of schedule and sample size in mind, what elements of that standings graphic are true and what are lying to me? In the sense of, like, what can I actually take from that in terms of, yeah, these 2-0 teams are actually really good versus, they just came away with victories, and which 0-2 teams do I need to worry about?
Yeah, so on the side of the 2-0 teams, like you can say, Echo Fox looked better, that kind of stuff, and I think they did look better, but in terms of being long-term threats over the course of the season, I'm still not sold on a couple of them. The one that I am, other than CLG, is Immortals. I thought their wins were not only over quality opponents, but the way that they won them, it was even game situations pretty often in the mid-game, not completely relying on snowballing like a lot of their wins came last season. So they've already changed their style, and it's already working out for them. It should be only upside from here. On the flip side, someone maybe a little concerned, the C9 situation, you will have Impact back. I feel like that's a bit of a safety net where if you ever feel like you're slipping too far, put him back in, you'll still do good. You'll be a top half team in the league.
Yeah.
But are you getting overtaken by Immortals, CLG, TSM, and who else is going to come up?
All right, well, there you have it. We'll see who can stand out in our next week's games. We return on Friday with Arrow and Phoenix 1 versus Sneaky and Cloud9. So the schedules don't get any easier for those 2 squads, really.
Nope.
Then Immortals look to continue their week 1 success against Team Envy later in the day. Now, throughout the weekend, you took to Twitter and called out your favorite LCS big plays. We pulled the best of the best highlights to showcase. Now, brought to you by Acer. First up, we've got Zerx Ranstein, who writes, that bar play by Aphromoo and Darshan, or on Darshan rather, proves why the shot-calling legend of CLG deserves to be in first-team LCS running every split. Take a look.
Dive still coming out. Lolo's still looking to go in, but needs a few more vitals. One more in. Flash is over, but a great Bard ultimate might save Darshan, and it will.
He actually parried the bar.
Oh,
Which is going to get a kill.
Afro gets the stun. Portal through the wall and takes down Lolo.
Afro, are you kidding me? The king is back.
I'm here with you, Trevor. Are you good?
Yep.
Coming. Nice.
Oh, nice job.
You go on, watch.
Yo, Jin,
I'm coming to you.
Okay, hey, we can limit on Jin.
Okay, yeah.
One of those back-breaking plays where at that time the game's kind of even, you have a Fiora Shen, you might be snowballing, and out of nowhere this kill gets snatched away from you and goes in the other team's direction. It's brutal to be Team Liquid in that situation.
Mentally devastating. Next up, we have JNTJSOR. Don't know what that stands for. He's glad he checked the VODs, rewatched Echo Fox versus FlyQuest Game 2. Man, that was crazy. I agree.
FlyQuest have managed to find one big kill, but now they've somehow got to retreat and not lose everything here. Turtle eating multiple arrows. Keys grabbing the kill onto High. A double kill, though, going the way of this AD carry. Moves forced to retreat. Gate drops. Looper and Keith alive. Nexus down to 1/4 HP. Looper jumping right back in the fight. Fire keeps some time. And Fly Quest holds!
But
Now,
run it down
Echo
mid.
Fox is running towards the base, but they have to kill an inhibitor as well.
Turtle.
While Turtle running a bit too close, taunted up, brought down, GA
Froggen's
still
gonna try
there.
to end the game.
Looper is still trying to hold this line.
Froggen's gonna
Froggen
go.
will go for the end of the game. Echo Fox trying to end. The Nexus has regenerated. They're going for that backline blitz. And Echo Fox find the win.
I mean, what a very exciting finish, and it's very cool to see it once again for Echo Fox, kind of this element of growth where that game ended at 36 minutes. This wasn't a 70-minute, oh, well, I guess we've tried everything else. We might as well rush down the mid lane and end the game. That was that was a planned and very well executed decision to go straight forward. Finally, we have Holland Duns who said, what were we, or what? Let me start that one over. This is going to
Take two.
It got me. I even practiced this one before we got on there. Said what we were all thinking during the Immortals game today. Smithy with the top 10 anime betrayals. Take a look.
Sven does have his ult. He could run in for a smite steal.
Ghost isn't up. He would be walked in, but like you said, ult is there, so it won't really matter.
Oh, Björk!
He comes at Bjergsen, hardly taking any damage, but delivering across 3 members of Immortals. The front end burst is too much for Immortals to handle.
Bjergsen, we said he had to get creative. He got creative. Around the backside. Smithy even helps him in. Oh my God. Smithy delivers the dash that Bjergsen was lacking. AoE taunts the entire team. What a betrayal.
That's one of those plays where it's like the master trying to teach the students, like, always be on your guard. You never know what's going to go wrong.
Right.
Smithy comes in the team, teaches them how to do all this late game shot calling. He's like, but be ready at
You think
any
you're
point.
good? This could happen at any time. So
Yeah,
you
getting
better
you
be
ready
for
week
it.
1.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. We'll make sure to keep calling out those big plays all split long, and we'll share your tweets as we see them. That's going to do it for us today. So in a few minutes, meet myself, Zyrene, and Kobe out on the stage for NALCS tonight to recap the first weekend of the summer split. Stay tuned. Now, though, for myself, the cast, and entire live broadcast crew, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week for more NALCS.
It's time for the very first game of the split as Cloud9 takes on Counter Logic Gaming. This is the guy inside, and look at the damage output! They're gonna take him down first blood to Zaya and Rakan in the bot lane. They've got Nightmare, he's gonna go with this body slam. Darshan tries him at the time. The kickback as well, and this time CLG secures it.
Are they going to take it? Belter goes to the wall. Oh, finds Arrow, the kiss of death. He can't get in the fight. How about Dead if they can? But a great ultimate from McSmithy before he goes down. He'll be able to get away from a Cathy and surprise. And there's the double kill for Cody's son.
One more influx is over, but a great bot ultimate might save Darshan, and it will.
He actually carried the bar.
Oh,
He's going to get a kill.
Arrow gets the stun, portal through the wall, and takes down Lola.
I got flash. Oh, it's fucking nuts.
Hell yeah, Zach. Let's go.
Oh, keep going, keep coming.
Yeah, we can end.
Go press, you can end.
We can end. Yeah, end.
Echo Fox trying to end. The Nexus has regenerated. They're going for that backline blitz. And Echo Fox find the win.
Big force to flash out, but he takes the exhaust.
They all
What
see
an equalizer from the teleporting Sunday. And he's going to start cleaning up the fight.
Let's take a moment to unveil the newest banner to the battle arena and recognize our spring split champions. Ladies and gentlemen, TSM!
Contracts is dead. The fight continues on the backside. Smoothie forced to run away. They're going for the steal, and it gets picked up by Bjergsen.
Another challenger enters the fight, and Belter looking for the kill. Haunter's been fascinating and diving. One last auto from Belter as they have to go.
Help me! I'm shield. Help me! Shield's going. Baron. I can teach you Baron. I shove.
Onto the Nexus. It's open. It's ready. Envy are going to get a Pyrian takes down Shady, but Envy bait P1 in, and Sarah finishes up the Nexus in style. He might take down Keeper the Taunt instead of the knocker, but they got Piglet, and that is all they really need. And now Reyna will force the kite away. He's burning down from the dragon, but the inhibitor's going to fall. Moon running off to the side. More damage pouring in, and it is FlyQuest getting absolutely destroyed. And Dignitas will go 2-0.
And now they're trying to recuperate. Bjergsen coming in as Fence Garen and Haunter die at the same time. Bjergsen's now on the ground. Immortals in 2 games takes down TSM.